Well, we're back. They have managed to get the semifinals underway. I have managed to find it on YouTube using a VPN. I won't tell you which country, it doesn't matter which country through, but we are watching now the first race of the Women's America's Cup semifinals. The top 6 teams having gone forward, and they are off the air here in the States on ESPN Plus. But I found it on YouTube, and we are watching the Women's America's Cup semifinals, which they've just started in Barcelona at, what time is it there? 25 minutes before 6. And they are on, I guess, leg 2. Let's see what Shirley has to say.
There is no prizes after that. It is going to require some punchy sailing, some elbows out.
Maybe the breeze has come up.
Don't mind elbows out, Shirley.
There they are, the 6 teams, the 3 from Group A and 3 from Group B have gone forward into the semifinals. They're already on leg 3 of 4. The Spanish leading, the Italians in second, obviously, the Brits third. Then the Dutch, then the Kiwis, then the Swedes, who led Group A, or Group B rather, trailing. Protest, no penalty. So we are watching the semifinals live from Barcelona. We're back on the air if you're just joining us. Hard to believe. But they're under such pressure, apparently, to get some racing in. So that's what we're watching now on YouTube. Yeah, hi, Marine Images. Graham Sweeney's back, watching with us. I don't know how I'm going to get a 1,300 show done today, Graham, but we'll figure something out. Leg 3 of 4. I wonder how many of these races they'll get in. I wonder if whatever they get in will be it, meaning they won't get all 4 races that were scheduled for the semis, get them in. Talking about the Spanish now, Shirley is. Spanish leading this first race of what looks like, what not looks like, it is the women's semifinal, meaning the 3 teams. 3 teams from Group A and 3 teams from Group B now together in the semifinal. The top 2 teams coming out of the semifinal will race in the final of the Women's America's Cup, we think, Sunday morning.
Team Barcelona coming through to the top gate for the last time before the downward leg. Just one thing they proved, particularly on the opening day of Group B, consistency. Second, fourth. They knew what they were about.
Yeah, I don't want to turn it up too much, Stingray. I don't want to, again, cause problems. But we are watching it now on YouTube, not on ESPN Plus. ESPN went off the air. They're on the 4th and final leg of this first race. Spanish leading, the Italian second. Yeah, I noticed. Hello, Andrew McIrvin. They went off the air here on ESPN Plus, and then I started getting word from Barcelona that they were going to try to do it again on YouTube. And I can say, Andrew, I turned my VPN on, refired up the broadcast software, and went on London's YouTube channel. I went on YouTube via the VPN to London, so I'm watching your British feed, actually, your British YouTube feed. So here we are, continuing on with the semifinals of the Women's America's Cup. 4 races scheduled.
finish line in race 1, shooting. Look at the gap that Sail Team Barcelona have got on Luna Rossa.
They've sailed so well. I mean, it is golden foiling conditions, isn't it? 10 to 12.
Golden foiling conditions as the Spanish close in on a win in this first race. The breeze has obviously come up from what we were watching the prior 3 hours.
Well, the Spanish have really haven't put a foot wrong as they come across now.
Haven't put a foot wrong.
Of the Italians and then run it down to the finish. They'll just pick up the lay line before they go into the jibe, but this has been a very classy performance by the Oh, I hope I haven't given them the commentator's curse. No, good recovery. So good recovery, a little bit rough through that jibe.
Oh, he called it a jibe.
So hang on a moment, just hang on a moment.
Italians closing in a hurry here.
Barcelona might be run down by the Italians, or will they? Have they recovered enough to get the first win in the semi-finals?
Still really stalled on that sail plan, just exiting there. They need to put that windward foil down and just coast it straight into the finish.
It's a win for the invited teams, and only just. Congratulations.
Okay, well, we've seen one. That was pretty quick. Are they going to get 4 in before it gets dark in Barcelona?
It looks like Athena pathway.
They've only got another hour and a half. I think it was 7:15, 7:16 is sundown. Pretty late in their afternoon now.
Wheel a little left hand down there on board the Spanish boat coming out of that touchdown, but a fantastic job.
They had to scramble around and put
points in this first race.
Emirates Team New Zealand will
scramble around and change the branding on the boats. They had to change the batteries. Then there was the Dutch took a delay, a 15-minute delay card.
Yo-Yo Team Dutch Sail and Sweden, who
Hello, Theo Smith. You're back. Could be exciting in the dark, Andrew McIrvin is saying.
The Swedish challenge powered by Artemis Technologies in 6th spot.
Good race, Graham Sweeney's saying. Yeah, at least there's some pressure. Pretty short. Short legs, short, you know, only only 4 legs. But they're struggling to get this series done and dusted today so that they can race the finals, presumably Sunday morning. Although I was hearing some word from some of our foes in Barcelona, they're going to try to race the women's finals tomorrow because the forecast, presumably because the forecast is better tomorrow. It's light forecast on Sunday.
Remember, all the points have been scratched. They start afresh. And you've got to be in that top 3, really. Well, you've got to be in the top 2 if you want to be in the final. But if you keep scoring consistently over the next 3 races, that's all you have to worry about.
They're going to get 3 races in, 3 more. 15 minutes a race with how much time between them if the breeze doesn't fade.
Congratulations. That is the way you start a semi-final.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy. Here is being a bit tricky, to be honest, with the wind is light and a bit wavy, but now it's picking up. So yeah, the girls did an amazing job, good maneuvers, and happy.
I won't read Richard Gladwell's private comment to me about the commentators.
It very much looked like you had a plan. How confident are you
How
in these
confident?
Barcelona conditions?
Well, we've had very little time on the boat, but I think Silvia is a really good local, so she has quite a good knowledge of the sailing area here. But we've been also feeling pretty confident with these conditions, and we just want to race more.
All right, congratulations. There's 3 more to go.
Agree? Thank you.
3 more to go.
It was a close start, wasn't it?
Super close start there, and to see all these 6 boats.
It's a replay,
off the line in
obviously.
pretty good shape was really, really nice to see. Fantastic conditions and a really tight battle up this first work, Shirley.
Yeah, the Spanish boat had a real plan for
Work,
the get-go,
that's Australian
hunting
for
that
beat.
left-hand side of the track. Really controlled that all the way. By gate 2, Spanish team still ahead. 3 boats going round that 1 mark. It was all on at 30 knots. All the teams surviving very well. Luna Rossa just managing to extend out. Got a little bit fruity near the finish for the Spanish team, but it doesn't matter how ugly it was. They got the win. Nice job.
Okay, well, we see it.
Barcelona.
A lot of you back on. Thanks for rejoining us in what has been watching party interrupt us.
All wanting that left-hand turn at the start of lap 2. I mean, split-second decision-making at 30 knots. Not only avoiding a crash, but also keeping the speeds high and the turn smooth. I mean, such intense racing at the corners. No one
Again, how excited do you feel, Dogzilla Monster, meaning Stingray, meaning... I won't use his real name. He's in the witness protection program, I think. Did so well maneuvering their boat. The problem with me and them using the word maneuvers is, for me, that a maneuver is anytime you change course. That's a maneuver, heading up, heading down. But of course, they're using maneuver as a substitute for tack or jibe, instead of saying tack or jibe, which I do not understand why they don't say tack or jibe. And when they want to do stats at the end of the race, how many did they do? How many maneuvers did they do? They could say tacks and jibes, 15. Tacks and jibes, 16. Okay. Or they could do tacks and jibes. That would be interesting to know how many tacks they did and how many jibes they did. I don't know. Don't. Now I'm grumpy. Graham Sweeney's on, but if Gordon Smith comes on, he'll accuse me of being grumpy. There's the maneuvers, 9, 9, 11, 10, 8. Dutch did the fewest maneuvers, but their average VMG and the distance sailed was quite a bit longer than the others. The VMG was quite a bit lower than most, in fact, most of the others. I guess not all of the others. Okay, 1 race already done in the first to win, well, not first to win, in the 4-race semifinals. Oh, there's an interesting shot of the cable car. Now what's going to happen? We're going to run a package. Well, I'm going to leave you to it, because right now, while there's audio's going off the air, I don't know what they're doing, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get some more coffee, and maybe take a pee. I'll be back.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete, and this race is live.
Getting ready for semi-final number 2 in the Puig Women's America's Cup here in Barcelona on a late Friday afternoon. Magnificent weather conditions are greeting all these 6 semi-finalists. First race taken up by the local team, Sail Team Barcelona.
The breeze just looks better and better. We've got between 10 and 13 knots. It is ideal, well worth waiting for.
Use baluster. Starboard side there of Sail Team Barcelona. All the teams now in their final loop before setting themselves up for the start. Absolutely fantastic conditions. Right, sailing on the big jibs.
We got a lovely shot there in that aerial. We can actually see more breeze. We didn't need the wind field for that on the right-hand side of the track. There we go. You expect teams to be looking at that, maybe protecting the right-hand side of the track.
This is the Italians, and they have shown already that they are going to be aggressive wherever they are on the course. Just remember that last mark rounding, or that mark running at the bottom of leg 2 against the Swedish. As Shirley said, elbows out, and they are an elbows out team.
All these teams so close, trying to perfect the perfect start, just trying to get their time and distance right. So important, this start. Spanish like the look of the right-hand side.
Team's just killing a little bit of speed there, particularly at the top end of the line.
Okay, we're back here for the start of the second race in 5 seconds.
Looking for a space.
Yeah, I agree, Graham. Sweeney, maneuvers are what sailboats make when the engines are on. There's the start. Race 2 of 4 of the Women's America's Cup semifinals. The top 2 teams at the end of these 4 races go forward to the finals, presumably Sunday morning, and it's a match race, one race, winner take all.
The British team, so they'll need to get the boat rumbling. Lunarossa Prada Pirelli, really.
Saw the Spanish win the first one.
Midline start there, punched out, and both teams on the left there also doing really well, top of screen.
And now the Dutch are leading.
Team Dutch sail. Shirley, I think, have got a little left-hand shift up the top there. You can see the angle difference between Lunarossa Prada Pirelli and the 2 boats top of screen. So a little more pressure on that left
A lot of
side.
people rejoined us.
Sail Team Barcelona now tacking onto starboard. They'll have right of way.
Conditions do look a lot better, don't they, Stingray?
The Italians having to keep clear of these.
Boy, this fleet's close.
Punchy on board, Lunarossa Prada Pirelli.
Spanish have asked for a decision, as have the Italians.
For those of you asking about the Zoom, I've turned the Zoom off, and I've gone to using the Zoom computer for the VPN to London so I can get this YouTube signal for you all. So that's that computer is being used to follow the racing now on YouTube, because they went off the air on ESPN Plus. It looked for a while like they were going to come back, and then they didn't. Now the Brits are leading. Spanish in second, so the Spanish having another good race.
Distance there to clear that penalty relative to the advantage line of Spain. To see how close this cross was. Those electronic boundaries there. Umpires calling that too close. And potentially the infringement possibly being actually that incident there. There was protest buttons getting fired off all over the course. But the race continues. The starboard attackers now having right away. So Sail Team Barcelona having to dip Shirley behind the Italians.
Athena Pathway, they've sailed this leg so well and are leading that group in from the left-hand side.
You want competitive racing? You've got it right now.
Yeah, this is close.
Number 2 in the Hooch Women's America's Cup. Piccadilly Circus at the top gate.
Piccadilly Circus.
For the first time, almost the entire fleet.
How much of a delay do I have, Graham Sweeney? I'm just watching. I took it off YouTube, off of the London feed, I can't see it here in the States because YouTube is geo-blocked. ESPN Plus is off the air. I could try Sydney or Auckland.
Wow, that will be a big penalty, surely, because they will have to get back behind.
Graham, what are you watching it on? Right? You're watching it on YouTube?
New Zealand, you are to lose VMG relative Spain.
Clean a pathway.
Yeah, it is a lot more interesting, Commodore, isn't it? Claire Harrington when there's some wind.
Blokes pushing hard.
New Zealand, your penalty is a lose distance penalty.
Not much in it between the British and the Italians. Just going to have a look at
Penalty
this
clear.
again.
Oops, there's some cross
On New Zealand,
diamonds.
New Zealand did not keep clear. We saw that the hexagons cross there.
Kiwis just needed to preempt that just a little earlier. Just
Has Spain fallen off their foils?
forward shot.
This is this replay. I mean, they're penalizing the Kiwis for this, but, you know,
Pathway, but you can see how close
you
they
can't tell where those diamonds are around the boats if you're on the yachts.
Very, very tight there. Now on board Emirates Team New Zealand.
So I'm only 3 seconds delay from what you're seeing in the UK, Andrew.
Having right away would shoot that mark, and knowing they were coming up, they just needed to give them a little more room than they did. So an unforced error. New Zealand.
So Italy ahead of
Okay, well,
They got
Graham, I don't know what you're watching it on. What are you watching it on, Graham Sweeney, that I'm so far behind what you're seeing?
And they've extended on this downwind. To windward of them, they've got Sweden. So the cream
You being
is
in
really
Scotland.
rising to the top with the Italians and the Swedes dicing it out.
Just keep your eye too on the bars.
Well, yeah, you all watching
Because Spain
the live stream. Well, the live stream is going to be delayed whether you're watching it on Facebook or on YouTube. It's going to be delayed about, 8, 9, 10 seconds, as usual, from what I'm sending here out of the studio.
Group A leading the fleet down for the second upward leg.
And Andrew's watching it on YouTube,
By Artemis coming in.
but he's also watching the stream here on Facebook, our stream.
Around the outside of Athena pathway, Great Britain. Nice little battle.
The Spanish are way, after winning that first race, are now back
Swedish did
in
well
the
there,
toilet.
the pace. Now sitting in clear air.
Yayo Team Dutch sail.
The penthouse to the outhouse.
Just punching through the waves and heading upward on leg number 3 of 4.
Now you can see the green bars on top here indicating which teams are through to the finals if racing were to end now.
Team Barcelona winners of race.
The top 2 teams according to points on the leaderboard at the moment, if they finished like this, and taking the first race into account as well. I like that. I think these graphics have been really good. I think they've been a great addition to the program. I mean, they've had these since the get-go. But whoever in the TV squad, I'm a legend behind, Graham Sweeney is saying. How far? I mean, it ought to be 10 seconds behind or leg behind. Okay, well, I'm watching it live off of my YouTube VPN, which could be delayed a bit coming from London. Then you're seeing it delayed on the stream because I'm streaming it out to YouTube and Facebook, and whichever one you're watching on will be delayed by 10, 15 seconds, I should think.
Looked to be doing a nice job.
10 seconds anyway, so I'm a leg behind.
Beautiful job.
Okay, well,
That's what Sail Team Barcelona did in that last race, just keeping it
ESPN
smooth.
Plus in the past has been ahead of what most of you were seeing, I guess.
Got off the start line well. Unsurprisingly, have been the ones that have
The
been
Italians now leading.
so the start's just so important.
We were impressed with this team's boat handling from the very beginning. A lot smoother than some of the other teams. A nice calmness on board. And certainly they're demonstrating it in this second race of the semi-finals.
This is the race committee. We are moving the finish line, shortening the final leg to 1 nautical mile.
Okay, my call for the touch. Giulia, prendila generosa, Marghe. No worries. Have fun. Still on a little lefty. Okay, step by step.
You don't want to see that. You want to see that.
Julia Conte steering into the tack. Margarita Poro, only 25, picking up on the port side. Nicely done.
Okay, right turn.
Well, it's, what time is it there in Barcelona? It's 6 o'clock. They have another hour and 15 minutes of daylight.
Only two will go through to contest the inaugural Booch Women's America's Cup. At the moment, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, and Athena Pathway Great Britain are the two with the green. Green means good, green means go to the final, but we've still got racing to go here on the semi-finals.
How many? We don't know.
Prada Pirelli, like their Uni-Credit Youth America's Cup team, like their AC75 team. Just
One more downhill leg now
and get it
to
done.
the finish.
They're around the top gate for the last time and heading home.
LRPP youth team won the Youth America's Cup. Both the women's and youth teams have gotten. Okay, Italy has just rounded through the top gate here, too. I don't know why the delay maybe to you is unusually long, Graham Sweeney. But they're going down the final leg, and as I was just saying, the Italians, Marco Gordoni, who won the youth, impressively, say it really ran away with it. And, of course, he had been helming their AC40, the LRPP AC40. He did in one of the senior regattas in Jeddah. So he's had a lot of time. And presumably these ladies have had a lot of time, too. The women have had a lot of time in the LRPP boat and in the simulator, and tell me what else, as they seem to be quite impressive as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if they get through to the finals. Who's going to be the other team? The Brits? The Swedes? Swedes led that other group coming into the semifinal. The Dutch were second in that. The Spanish were third. Kiwis barely made it in, as you just saw. We were watching that earlier. So who knows? I mean, the Kiwis barely got in. That was a strange race, and of course, sad to see in many respects that the Swiss didn't make it through to this semifinal.
If you want to make an impression on your competitors, there's one thing you do. You simply go and beat them.
Oh.
And that's what
See, MacGyver, you're wonderful. Well, you simply go and beat them. Okay.
They will get the win. They will get the 10 points. They will go to the top of the table. And
So the Swiss are out. The Americans are out. A number of these other teams are out. Yeah, Marine Image, we're seeing it about the same time you are, I think. I don't know if it's changed or caught up or whatever, but the Spanish, who won the first race, are going to be DFL in this race, they having fallen off the foils at one point. And the Italians now, with their green bar on top of their graphic, leading. The Brits in second, and if that's the case, those two teams will go forward into the final, which presumably will be Sunday morning, although yeah, he is irritating, Andrew McIrvin. Mr. MacGyver, or Steve MacGyver. But how many of these races are they going to complete? All four of them? Looks like they have time. They got an hour to do it, to get two more done. GBR second plus 21 seconds. Yes, the Swedes plus 26 and the Dutch plus 54. The Kiwis plus 111. And the Spanish are back, so they win the first race and finish DFL, dead last in the second one. That is the Spanish.
A number of races to go. It's
A number. He keeps saying a number, even though we know it's technically 2, but he doesn't know how many they're going to get in. They could call this off at any moment.
Barcelona are home.
They do, we think, have another hour and 10 minutes or so of sunlight. I don't know what that means, civil sundown or astronomical sun, whatever the other types of sundowns are called.
Prada Pirelli, followed by Athena Pathway.
Now let's see what the standings are.
Followed by the Artemis Swedish Challenge. So they are doing the job.
Well, come on, give us the overall standings, please. Yeah, Commodore Harrington saying they have another hour until sundown.
Prada Pirelli, fine performance. We'll have a chat with Julia and the crew in just a moment once we make contact with them. Because
If you're just for some reason joining us, we've been at this since 4 hours ago
it is to say
at 0500 our time here in San Francisco. We're in Studio B of Beach Street Yacht Club's Sailing Illustrated studio. And there has not been up till now, the last 3.5 hours, there's not been enough wind to do much racing. We struggled through a couple of races and washed, and it was pretty touch and go, no pun intended, because the boats kept touching down and then foiling and touching down, and it was not correct. That got them through the rest. We were watching the end of the fleet group, I should say, A races. The America's Cup teams each have an entry in this Women's America's Cup, as they did in the youth. And then there are 6 invited teams, and the top 3 teams from Group A, the America's Cup teams, and the top 3 teams from the invited teams then are together in this semifinal, which we're now watching. They went off the air after 3 hours at 8 in the morning our time. It's now 9:06 here. Then we started getting word that they were trying to go back live. ESPN Plus here in the States went off the air. We can't see it here in the States because ESPN Plus went off the air, even if you're a subscriber. Then YouTube, which is geo-blocked here in the States for 24 hours until after the racing. You can't see it on YouTube. So I've gone on a VPN to London to watch this feed coming off one of our computers here in the studio that I'm feeding into the broadcast software, so we can still, no touch and go fog machine, so we can still watch the women's set, which is what we came on at 0500 to see. That's what we were hoping to see, but they had to get the end of the Group A racing, and they, as it turns out, they didn't get all the races in. They got, 1 or 2 of them in? And it is the intention, Claire Harrington's telling us, Vice Commodore of the New York Yacht Club, Harrington is telling us it is their intention to complete all 4 of these semifinal races tonight. So that's why we're here. That's why we're watching. And we went back on the air. And there's Mark Holland is sort of back. I think you're in Barcelona as well, right, Mark? Left the press center. Yeah, he is. He's in the press center, and now this. Sheesh. Well, I think a lot of people left. We left. We went off the air. Fog Machine saying he's so happy he's paying for ESPN Plus. I will say, Fog Machine, a.k.a. Lance Burke, as we got another 8 minutes to the start of this next third race. I've enjoyed it. I'm paying it's not a princely sum, but it's still $10 a month. It's $100 or $11 a month. It's $132 a year for that additional coverage on ESPN Plus. But there is a wealth. There's a lot of sports coverage on there. All sorts of college football games and rowing and other minor Olympic sports and so on, like sailing. So Glenn Ashby talking with, I guess, what team was that he was talking about? 18:15. Yeah, another 7 minutes. We got that, Claire. Thank you. Not 16:15, but yeah, 7 minutes to the start of what is going to be race 3. There's a replay. So I scrambled around, got us back on the air instead of preparing our 1 o'clock, our regular 1 o'clock show today, which I'm still intending to do, it might not be much of a show because normally it takes me, 4 hours the evening before and all morning, the morning of our regular Tuesday and Friday shows. I start at about 7:30 and go right up until we go to live at 1300 preparing that show, our regular Tuesday and Friday shows. So we're 4 hours from going, less than 4 hours from going live at 1300. But, I'm sure you all will be tolerant. Sun is so low that they can't see the wind on the water easily, is what they were saying. Let's go listen to Shirley.
So, 2 races done, 2
Finally,
to go.
we got
That's
results.
right, 2
There we
races
go.
done, 2 to go. Look how tight it is. I mean, you could literally go down to 5 and 6 and anything could happen. That's what's going on with the scoring. So, at the top, in the green, Lunosa Prada Pirelli and Athena Pathway. Sitting,
Yeah, but
waiting.
there's not much between Athena and the Spanish, but I have a feeling that the British are going to go through. They've been consistent. They look good. They won that other Group A, right? They were the Group A winners. Now they're going to do a package. We got 5 minutes to this next race. We're going to have a package about the Barcelona fireboat. Or maybe that's live. How would you know? Oh, yeah, okay. Start in 4 minutes 50 seconds. 0450. That must be live. Are they welcoming a cruise ship into Barcelona? Announcers are taking it. They don't have any packages left to show, I guess. They having exhausted all of them earlier today. What a beautiful country. Hello, Richard Lawton. Thank you for rejoining us. We're all we scrambled around here to get back on the air when we realized that the semifinal 3 is coming shortly. Stand by, they're telling us on YouTube. As I said, they went off the air here in the U.S. on ESPN Plus after 3 hours. For a while, they put up a screen that said, we're at halftime. They're using a football halftime. They said, you're at halftime and we're going to go back to the women's in a few minutes. Well, then that screen disappeared and they said, they're done. So that's when as I said, I turned on the VPN on one of the other computers and went to London to get this YouTube feed, because we can't see YouTube here in the States. It's geo-blocked until 24 hours later. 24 hours after the live. So here we are. Nice shot of Porto Olimpico up to the north there, up on the screen up here, Port Olympique. This one of these buildings, I don't remember which, was the athletes' village during the '92 Olympics.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete, and this race is live.
Okay, we got a third race ready to go.
Number 3 of 4. And the Puig Women's America's Cup here in Barcelona has been given the green light. And just to keep you up to date, where we stand, Italy and
Melanie Roberts, the American voice of the race committee, she having done several cups now. Trey Ritter, my pleasure. I'm glad you're back.
But the points are tight.
The points are tight.
Sail Team Barcelona, a solitary point behind Athena Pathway Great Britain. And do not discount the rest of the fleet, because the way the points are stacked, 10 for a win, 7 for a second, 5 for a third.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. We saw that in the disappointment for the Swiss.
So buckle up again.
Buckle up! Here we go! Buckle up! So exciting.
If you're below that cut line.
Yeah, those of you here in the States that are watching, I know you can't see it live otherwise, so I'm happy to provide a little bit of a service here. Unless you have your own VPN and can go on YouTube from somewhere in the world.
as we saw in the last two races, the teams that got off the start line well were the teams that finished in the top position.
Yeah, Glenn, the teams that do well at the start and get to the gate first almost always win the yacht race. I mean, not only in this yacht racing, but in, to be fair, most yacht racing. So, what's your guess? What's your bet? Put it in the comments. I'm betting on the Brits and the Italians to go forward to the final, whether that's tomorrow or Sunday as scheduled. Tomorrow is race day 1 of the 37th America's Cup, the match, the so-called match. We got a minute to the start here now. And the match tomorrow, races 1 and 2 are scheduled between the Brits and the Kiwis in the big boats in the AC-75. Italians really close to the boundary there. Spanish, who are they protesting?
I think they're happy to start at the port end.
Spanish have, well, they touched down there, but they're back up on the foils, it looks like. Are they all foiling? Did the French fall off the foils? The Italians are really late. Well, they're going to be okay. Spanish are going to be really late after winning the first race. And the Swedes are over early. Vilma Boberg, the helm, get behind penalty for Sweden.
An error from the Swedish.
Some boat-on-boat penalties, but they don't seem, the umpires don't seem to be penalizing anybody.
Penalty for being over the line.
I am sounding like the Irish commentator at times. Yeah, probably. After 4 hours, 15 minutes, although I did get a second coffee, Stingray. Second coffee since 03:30 this morning. 6 hours. 2 coffees in 6 hours is not too bad, is it? Everyone is foiling. Certainly the best sponsor name is Yayo, right? As my prediction for the Brits to be in the top 2 is looking better and better.
And we're not challenged in any way. And I've dominated that left-hand side of this first upwind leg. Currently in first position.
Penalty clear.
We saw the boats again, the ones getting off the start line cleanly and over speed. Now,
Brits also look like they have good speed. Look at that. They seem high and fast. Good VMG going uphill. I mean, Hannah Mills, the most decorated Olympian, female Olympian in our sport, 3 medals. Just top notch. Sailing to a nice lead here in the third of what we think are 4 races tonight. Looks like they're going to complete the semifinals with all 4 races. The Italians showing up there. Now they moved up to second place. I think we're seeing la creme de la creme here, the cream of the crop, as the Brits and the Italians with the green bar, meaning they on current standings, meaning in the 2 previous races and this race. If this race ended right now and there was no more racing, these 2 boats would go forward into the finals. The final, the winner-take-all single race final, match race.
taking a boat speed penalty relative to the other boats around, but they still are in good shape. The
Kiwis look okay. Another maneuver.
As well, so potentially
They got attack. Say it.
top gate here again.
Hannah is a badass hero, but Ben has, yeah, he does have more Olympic medals. He's been at it longer. Who's Happy? Hello, Happy, on YouTube. Tell us who your name is. Yeah, GBR are through first. Graham Sweeney. And the Italian second. Dutch right behind in third, but did they fall off the foils? Touchdown.
Just try to get around them and grab another spot because they'll need points.
Creme de la femme. Thank you, Fog Machine, a.k.a. Lance Burke.
4 boats, 5 boats heading down the left-hand boundary.
Leg 2 of 4. Same course, same 4-leg course as last time. Have I been missing the Cap Gemini overlays? I haven't seen. There it is. There's a bit of one. The Winfield overlays on the graphics for the TV. I guess there's a bit of one.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shifting the course axis to 160 and shortening to 0.9 nautical miles.
Yeah, they've got an hour, a little bit less than an hour, 55 minutes left of sunlight as far as we know, daylight.
They might need to turn the nav lights on soon, Shirley, as the sun gets low on the horizon, but Athena Pathway doing a great job. All the boats actually coming back into range now on the J1.
Yeah, 160 now is the course axis. Thank you, Graham Sweeney, a.k.a. Marine Images.
In range as the breeze gets down around that sort of 9-knot mark, so still some great performance. 33 knots of boat speed there, Athena Pathway, 34 the Kiwis, so no shortage of boat speed.
Yeah, Andy, we saw that they've shortened the course too to what was it, 8/10 or 9/10 of a nautical mile, the legs.
Coached by America's Cup helm, Chris Draper. Done a good job.
Well, maybe the Brits are going to win the women's, and maybe they're going to win the big enchilada, as they will go racing tomorrow against the Kiwis. There aren't many people think the Brits are going to win. I saw the Scuttlebutt, the email newsletter here in this country. It's been around for a long time, edited by Craig Lewick. It's kind of running 60-40 in the poll that they were running. I saw earlier this morning.
Halfway done. Emirates Team New Zealand. They're also through.
Dutch cross halfway mark around for leg 3. Yeah, we see that, Graham. Dutch are way behind. The Swedes are way behind in the last place. As again, the Brits and the Italians looking strong in this women's semifinal. There are the deltas. Just as I point, oh, the breeze is up, 11 knots. It's saying. Cap Gemini is saying. Yeah, it's as Glenn is saying. Glenn Ashby is saying, being out in the lead in this fleet race must be a lot easier to breathe because you don't have the dirty air of all the boats around you if you're deeper in the fleet.
So they hit it, but they were very, very patient. And they came right across to the right-hand side, and now they've jumped onto that lifting board. This will be the long board, and they'll come up to the top mark gate. It'll be a short board across on port. This will be a good gain for the leading boat.
A good gain for the leading boat. The rich get richer.
Cream seems to be rising, Shirley, in this.
Oh, now the cream. I could be a commentator. Listen to that. The cream seems to be rising. Glenn Ashby is saying. Hi, Jim. Jim Gretzky, esteemed 12-meter naval architect. Well, he's a naval architect for a lot of things, but 12 meters and otherwise in the Newport, Rhode Island area. Restored several of the classic 12s into fighting condition, including and especially Defender, if memory serves. Yeah, it is late, Jim. We were on the air at the normal time at 2 o'clock Barcelona time, 0500 here in San Francisco, and there wasn't much wind. They were trying to wrap up the preliminary series for the A group. They did. They didn't get all the races in, but now they're into the semis, the top 6. boats, the 3 from each group, Group A, Group B. And they're now in the 3rd race of the so-called semifinals. One more to go. We think they'll get it in. Plenty of breeze now. Breeze has come on. And the Brits are just sailing away. In this much breeze, they seem to be very confident and strong. Likewise, the Italians. And the top 2 teams will go forward out of this semifinal into the 1-race winner-take-all finals, which is scheduled for Sunday morning between the 2 America's Cup races, between races 3 and 4, 1 and 2 being scheduled tomorrow. And we'll do watch parties for all of that, but tomorrow the forecast is not auspicious. Sorry, tomorrow the forecast is auspicious. Sunday the forecast is not auspicious.
That will be massive going to the last race.
Massive, yes, Steve MacGyver. Of course it's going to be massive.
They come in, they're chasing.
Yeah, GBR well and truly ahead. We can see, Graham, here they're leading by 22 seconds over the Italians, who are leading the Kiwis, who are in 3rd. The Kiwis in 3rd, and they are, gosh, they're 15 seconds back of the Italians, as you can see over here. It looks like it'll be the Brits and the Italians again. So when there's any breeze at all, they look like the class of the women's fleet. That is the Brits and the Italians.
For a spot in the final, the Swedes are around, the Dutch are around.
I'm hearing from Bill Wingrove, who's our Fozy in Tampa, showing some videos of the madness that has occurred down there after Hurricane Milton went through there yesterday. And we'll have that hopefully on our 1 o'clock show. We are going to do the 1 o'clock show. It's not going to be very well prepared or very extensive because I just haven't had time to do it.
Area, 64 square meters, and jib area, 36 square
And I've had a fair bit of pushback. You know, why are you covering this stuff? We'd much rather see your regular Tuesday and Friday shows at 1300 and give us the recap, but watching this live has not been all that exciting. Although these races have been pretty good. I'm glad we came back on live, because otherwise those of you in the States couldn't see it. After ESPN Plus went off the air after 3 hours, their TV window time today.
That sun glare now right in your eyes, so very difficult to see the wind on the water.
So Athena Pathway, Great Britain, banked 10 points. They come in to finish race number 3. They stay above the...
And Commodore Harrington telling us that they are planning in 10 minutes at 1837. 10 minutes, they plan to get another race, the 4th and final race of the semis underway. Okay, well, good. I'm glad I came back on. I hope all of you are as well.
2-1-2. So, second podium position in that spot.
Yeah, I'm looking at ESPN Plus here on the app on my phone.
Leading the way, Emirates Team New Zealand pick up valuable points that will pump them up.
And they've got, you know, they've only got so many satellites, so much satellite time. Sorry. Wow, we win, and wow for the twilight race. Well, they've turned the exposure up on the cameras pretty well. It looks pretty daylit. Hello, Tommy Whitehurst. Long time. Nice to have you on. As the Brits and the Italians looking stronger by each race, each passing race here, looks like they will go forward. The Kiwis could possibly pip the Italians, I think, but the other 3, I think, now are more or less out of it.
And then will be followed home by Yayo Team Dutch Sail. So, as we see the Dutch come across the line, it still goes down to the fourth and final race. Do not go anywhere.
Do not go anywhere.
All yachts, please stop sailing immediately.
Stop sailing immediately. What, they're trying to preserve batteries?
Then of the third race in the semi-finals of the Pooch Women's.
Okay, so there's the results
Two leading boats
of that race, the third race.
And Luna Rosa Prada Pirelli are in the green zone. Emirates Team New Zealand came home third. Sail Team
Now let's see the
Barcelona
leaderboard.
Now, when
Come on,
you
show
look
us the
at these standings,
leaderboard.
you'll see it is just one team.
Come on, this is over, all but over.
And that will be Sail Team Barcelona. That 4-point buffer on Emirates Team.
Oh, look at the Italians are leading now. How is that?
Even if Emirates Team New Zealand were to win, they couldn't make it in. So it's going to be 3 into 2 as we head into race number 4. Gotta love
So
it.
ETNZ's out. And there's still a slim chance the Spanish could pip the Brits.
It's becoming quite a habit here having a chat to you, Hannah, but that was nice for someone who said to us in the last race, well, I don't know really what the plan is. Not a bad plan executed.
Yeah, I mean, the wind's really changing, actually. It's becoming much more patchy, you know, bigger lulls. Yeah, really eyes out now.
Hannah, we're just doing a little bit of maths here. It looks like the only team that could challenge you are the Spanish. What's your plan really for this final race?
Well, that's news to us, Shirley. So.
Oh, outside assistance from the TV commentators. I mean, their coaches, could tell them they're not racing, so they can get outside assistance at this point.
Okay, well, we're not going to tell you the points, Han, because that would spoil the fun. So
Spoil the fun? You just told them.
And, we'll
All
see you in
but.
race 4.
I'm sure they can get the points from their coach.
All right.
As it looks like the Brits and the Italians will go forward, there's a slight chance the Spanish could. There's who team is that? Is that the Spanish? Getting hard to tell in the dark.
Here's the equation. You're just a little bit behind the Great Britain team. So
A little bit behind. They're almost 10 points behind.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to this last race, which is going to be...
Sylvia Mas, another great sailing family in España.
What's the plan, Sylvia? Are you going to go for a port start? We won't tell anyone, but if you did something like that, it'd be good for us to talk.
Yeah,
about.
right.
Good luck.
And they got to hurry if they're going to get this race started in the next 7 minutes.
Go well. Enjoy this last race.
Breeze looks like it's gone light again.
Thank you.
Replay of the start.
Let's have another look at this race. The Swedish so
Wonder if they'll get this race in.
But they were over the line and had a penalty. And for the
I hope
really
so.
one of the favourite teams, it was a massive blow.
I hope so, but
simple. Had a really
I hope
good
you'll come
start
back, join us at
first leg.
1300 today. I just go back and look at the schedule going forward.
Controlled the team.
Where are we here? We've done our watch party for today. This watch party continued. We came back on the air to follow the end of the women's qualifying part. We're now into the so-called semifinals of the top 6 teams. It looks like we know the Brits and the Italians are going forward, but maybe one race to go, at least one race scheduled. Then we'll do our regular show in about 3.5 hours at 1300 Pacific at 2000 UTC. And then tomorrow we're scheduled to do a watch party as we have racing in the 37th edition of the America's Cup. The match, so-called match, will go on at race 1 and 2. Will go on tomorrow at 0500 Pacific, which of course is 1400 in Barcelona. We'll do the same thing Sunday morning for races 3 and 4, and that's when the women's finals is scheduled between the 2 finalist teams. One race, winner take all, and if it follows through what they did with the youth, they ran one of the LVC, the Louis Vuitton Cup races, final races. Then they ran the youth finals. Then they ran the second LVC race scheduled for that day. And it looks like that's what they're planning to do Sunday, unless Sunday is as pathetically light as it's supposed to be, in which case they may use Monday, the reserve day. I don't know. How would you know? And Tuesday is a scheduled day off. That is not a reserve day. It is a lay day. It's off. And we plan to do our regular Tuesday show at 1300 Pacific with guest Ben Remacher coming on from Vancouver via Skype. That's the schedule going forward. As we go back here to what looks like the fourth and final semifinal race. We'll see if we hear from Melanie Roberts from the race committee saying it's a go.
As we wait for a clearance from race management to go racing in the final race. Wow, the showdown is going to be tight.
Oh, come on, Steve. Don't insult our intelligence.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete, and this race.
Okay, well, at least we've got enough breeze under there. You know, they have a minimum, wind minimum.
We're about to also finish off the semi-finals, and it's been a ripping finish to
a ripping finish.
Race 4.
The race is live.
Race in the semi-finals. Who goes there? Well, you just have to watch and find out.
I think you got to keep your nose clean. That's the key thing. You don't want to have an early start if you're the Brits or the Italians. I mean, the Italians look like they're through. And the Brits just want to keep their noses clean, not have any foul, not have an OCS, an on-course side, a premature start as we used to call it, not have a collision, not have a falling off the foils, and then they'll be through. And if not, the Spanish are the only team really threatening them. The third place team are the Spanish. They won the first of these 3 semifinal races, and then we're middling in the other 2.
So if we have a quick look
That
at the points,
those red and green
into
bars
this,
don't mean anything
Barcelona
yet down there on the bottom.
must win the race, and Great Britain needs to be 5th or worse if you're on that Spanish boat.
So you heard what Shirley just said. If the Spanish win, the Brits have got to be 5th or 6th
of survival.
for the Spanish to climb into 2nd and go forward into that winner-take-all one-race final. Not going to happen, in my never-so-humble opinion. Yep, I think Glenn's right. I think all of you are thinking the same thing. Do not get tangled up with your opponents. Don't be OCS, on course side, meaning over the line early, and have to suffer a penalty at the hands of the umpires, Richard Slater. And LRPP is through. I believe that's the mathematical analysis here. 45 seconds, as you can plainly see. A lot of you are listening. I know you're not watching. You're listening and doing other things in your office or home or car or wherever you are in your daily life.
Dutch very early, gone high of the line.
Squeeze just, and the British just slowing the boat down a little bit with time to kill. They'll be wanting to open up the gauge and the gap. Very, very tight.
Spanish wanting the right end of the line, apparently. They got it. They want what we used to think of as the committee boat end. Boy, there's a bit of a fustercluck down there at the end. There's boats over early. There's at least 2 boats over early. 4 boats over early. The Brits, how could the Brits risk being over early?
Italy has a get behind penalty, the other 3 restart.
Wow, that's big. South Team Barcelona.
So that's helping the Spanish if the Brits have got to go back.
With a big penalty, so plenty going on. Restart.
And the Swedes got to go back, and the Dutch got to go back, and the Itals have got to go back, I think. All 4 of them. Kiwis are leading. Kiwis can't go forward. Mathematically, they're out of the final, I believe.
Italy, you still have to 8 meters to penalty.
And the Italians have got to, okay, they've dropped, apparently they had a port starboard or windward leeward or something. And now the Brits, who are in 4th place, they cannot finish 5th. if the Spanish win the race.
Early going back. So many boats nearly over, not wanting to slow down and get off the foil.
Yeah, I think Shirley's right. I think they were trying to stay foil-borne at all costs.
Well, that's a great view, isn't it? You can really see the two boats just behind the line. Italians just over. I think that was half
Great graphics, eh?
over the line.
Nice big foils on those boats. Chris Higgin. Hello, Chris. Saying yes. Now let's see how quickly and how well the Brits climb back into this.
Up to speed at the moment.
Spanish are only one place ahead of them.
A little windward heel and a little
Even after all that
tilting
madness, the
sail
Spanish did not have to restart.
Italians did a really nice job just keeping the boat powered up. Back down to a really low true wind angle there to keep the boat on the foils. This breeze dying out.
You know, this team is the best of the invited teams. Not much time in the water coming into this event. They have really shone.
And the Italians back in the lead.
Might not always be the full package.
Got to give them credit. I think they're going to win the women's, too. They won the youth, and it looks like they're going to win the women's. Or at least have a good shot at it. They're going through. I think mathematically they are through. And I think the Brits will now the Brits are ahead of the Spanish, so even that risk, short of falling off the foils and the Brits finishing 5th and the Spanish winning this race, and that is not going to happen. Spanish are not going to win this race. The Italians are going to win this race.
And those two boats will be competing in the inaugural Pooch Women's America's Cup final. But never say never. The one team
Yep, Steve, never say never.
hunt them down potentially is the Spanish.
Italians just had an absolute blinder of a first beat.
A blinder.
Being OCS, I mean, wow, they really.
I think
really
that's
sailed
fair,
up.
though. Glenn, who's a very fine sailor, as you all know, and a great guy and a terrific commentator. I mean, to be fair, the Italians have had a blinder. They have had a fabulous first leg. They were OCS, and now they're leading by quite a bit.
And they're back in the hunt and they got the green
20
light.
seconds over the
That's-
Kiwis.
That's good sailing.
You think, Steve? You're such a sailor. That's good sailing.
Meanwhile, there's a
Top
big
mark.
Uh-oh.
And start falling off the foils as Sweden come ripping round ahead of them. Sweden taking the left-hand gate. It does seem to be still better pressure down the right-hand side of the course on that downwind.
Okay, the Spanish have climbed up to second.
Dynamic is changing. So at the
You think
top,
the Spanish can
water is
climb to
on the
first?
You can see their speed washing off. But,
And the
out of
Italian and the Brits fall to 5th?
having an immaculate race.
For 4 of these teams, this is their final race.
Claire Harrington was cheering for the Swedes. Yeah, I like Velma Bobek. Good gal, good team. They've done well on the World Match Racing Tour.
But not for this team. They
But I
have
think you're going to
looked
see the Italians go through.
so composed.
Probably the Brits.
It's been an impressive watch.
They did a beautiful job on that first upwind, just really nicely locked in, big high ride height, and sailed some beautiful angles all the way up that upwind. But sail team
The
Barcelona
Spanish are quick, Graham
have
Sweeney's
gone away.
saying.
Just
Yeah, they're
round
catching
that
up
top
on the
eight, sailed some
Italians.
Nice pressure. They've actually slipped their way back into second place, so sailing really well, the Spanish team. Doing
Between the
everything they
noise
can
coming
to
off the
give themselves an
boats,
opportunity
several
to
languages,
this match race final.
it's a cacophony of sound. That's before you're listening to me babble on here in San Francisco.
It is the changing condition now. They still have to be really careful in terms of the
Getting lighter. I wish they'd tell us the wind. It pops up, and
little push that we've had.
Spanish are touching
Brilliant sailing.
down.
The Italians have just jibed as we look at the charging Spanish as they go into their jibe. They need a clean one.
This is
Well,
the
look-
race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening to 0.7.
Yeah, they keep shortening it and shortening it. The Boy, look at the angle the Spanish are sailing to try to stay on the foils. Everybody, how much higher they're sailing. Spanish are in the lead. Well, they're not really, but TV graphics had them in the lead. How do you like the upwind left?
Meanwhile, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli on the opposing mark goes round and up. Not over yet.
Kiwis off the foils.
Athena Pathways, Great Britain have dropped back into 5th position. No, they've just jumped back into 4th position, so they're sort of on the edge.
This is the umpire penalty Spain relative New Zealand.
Oh!
It'll be a lose distance penalty. We want to see 75 meters BMG.
So the Spanish were for that incident with the Kiwis at the downwind right end of the gate, the upwind left end of the gate. And now they've got to drop 75 meters back. So they got to slow down until the umpires release them. That's not going to help. Yeah, Graham, we see that. Brits back and forth in the middle of the fleet between 3rd, 4th, and 5th, back up to 3rd now. And it's getting light, as Shirley said. You can plainly see. Italians, have they fallen off the foils? They have. There's that incident.
So close, Shirley. Those boundaries just intersecting.
And apparently the Kiwis were into the zone first. I don't know what that.
Spanish there. Just getting round clean.
Windward lured.
Affect anything Emirates Team New Zealand. It was an unforced error. They actually fell off the foils, and if they hadn't have fallen off the foils, their intersections would have easily separated. So just a little too close there from
Passing to windward, I guess, and they just had to heat it up a bit to go to just get a little more gauge, a little more separation. Now the Spanish are leading.
Spain, they had to win to have a chance.
And if they win, and the Brits are 5th.
And if we can give you a little update on our live points ladder at the moment. Athena Pathways, Great Britain, and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli are sitting on 27 points. Spain on 24.
Well, we're not used to seeing many errors from Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, but a difficult maneuver further down
Okay,
the
the
off the foils.
LRPP are back on the foils. Meanwhile, the Kiwis have fallen off the foils. Wonderful racing. What a wonderful venue.
come off their foils. Big maneuver here, big tack for Sail Team Barcelona. Beautiful job.
8 knots of breeze now on the track.
Bravo Zulu to Glenn, who calls them tacks and jibes, not maneuvers. Wind is shutting down, isn't it, Graham Sweeney? Getting light.
All still foiling. Swedes also executing a nice tack.
Brits are back in the hunt here. Moved up to 3rd.
Well, the team under the most threat right now is Luna Rossa.
And if LRPP dropped to 5th,
That's if Sail Team Barcelona
I don't think that takes them out.
Team Shirley, I think, are on lay for that left turn where the Swedes
I think they're mathematically in.
another maneuver which will cost them plenty in this light air conditions. Also the British having to tack quite a way. I've got the Spanish team with a really big
But the
lead.
Spanish are doing what they have to do, which is to try to win this race and let the chips fall where they may.
Enough for the Spanish just to win
Yeah,
the-
Commodore Harrington, we all agree. How hard would it be to leave the wind speed in a little box in the corner throughout the race? But apparently
So need
they must have some sort of a deal with Cap Gemini that they won't do that. Fog Machine is saying Claire is so right.
I tell you what, Mother
Kiwis are off the foils.
when it mattered, because she's taken us down to the last race again.
Brits are up in 3rd, the Italians in 4th. And with the Kiwis off the foil and losing distance rapidly, the Dutch are off the foils as well, it looks like. Oh no, the Dutch are back on the foils.
There goes Athena Pathway, Great Britain.
So I don't see this changing.
Be careful, gotta be careful.
It's a sticky hull in these bumpy conditions. While they're doing 90 degrees true wind angle. That boundary will be absolutely ripping at Athena Pathway. Need to get the boat down to angle, keep the speed on.
But just to take the mathematics out of it, just look at the
Just
green
one leg of
regardless
vacuuming the living room, mowing the lawn to the finish.
Regardless of us,
Well, the Spanish are doing what they had to do, so I give them credit for winning this race, or at least leading the race, getting into the lead.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli will advance to the final, but we've still got a leg to go, a bit of, well, let's say 3/4 of a leg.
Well, come on, Steve.
So that's Italy just coming round the top mark.
The Italians have a pretty healthy lead
Ahead of them.
over the
I just wonder if
Dutch.
This has still got a little twist in it. Or are they just going to get over the line before this late afternoon breeze shuts down? Right now, the Spanish are in the lead. Sweden and then Great Britain, Italy make up that top four. But the breeze is dying very, very quickly.
The Dutch are way behind the Italians. The Kiwis are even further behind, so the Italians just got to keep plugging along here. Spanish are going to win. The Swedes are closing in on the Spanish now all of a sudden.
The first of the invited teams. They have really
And the breeze is
their
dying.
racing skills this afternoon.
They potentially will
It's so
finish
dark.
with a second
Hannah
win
Mills is
and
sailing
four
without her
very
goggles down. I think that's right.
races. They will
Graham
look back
Sweeney,
at race
a.k.a.
number
Marine
2 when they
Images.
finished behind the fleet. There's 6 that may have cost him a spot in the final. That one race, but it's like everything we've said. One moment, one mistake, it's cost you. But they have certainly.
Here come the Spanish, going to win this one, no surprise.
They'll get win number 2 to finish off the semi-finals, but they will miss out on the final by a mere 3 points.
Well, they did everything they could. Sail Team Barcelona, Shirley.
Sweden come in their best result of this semi-final.
So yeah, the Spanish have won. Mark Holland, thank you for your continuing stats for us, even though you left the media center in Barcelona and I guess you're home in your apartment now.
Yeah, definitely feel like
Here come the Brits. They'll finish third, I guess. I think, I do believe. Hannah Mills, congrats to her and her team as they have qualified as the top team.
They're the first team across the line to go into the inaugural Pooch Women's America's Cup final this weekend.
That's got to be, as John Emmett would say, that's got to be a relief.
There you go. I was going to say, there will be some
What's
relief
he call
on
it?
Athena Pathway.
I call it a pucker when you get, he calls it a bum. What's he call it?
Very accurately. I'll be very happy with that.
And Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, they will
And LRPP going forward,
position in the final race of the evening. It is the evening here in Barcelona.
and they managed to get all 4 races
Will
in.
be the second
It's
boat.
now
They
closing
are
in.
Opponent of Athena Pathways, Great Britain.
On 7 o'clock in Barcelona, they've only got 20 minutes
It's going to be
of sun left, daylight left. Yeah, that was a bit too exciting, Andrew McIrvin. Thanks, Fog Machine. Squeaky bum, that's it, Stingray. Thank you for reminding me. John Emmett would have said that some of the Brits would have had a squeaky bum worrying about whether the Brits were going to fall off the foils and the Spanish were going to not only lead but then win that race.
come on.
Okay, we know who's going through to the finals. That was our whole purpose
Another British boat.
of almost 5 hours ago when we got this underway. The purpose was to watch the women's semifinals.
Emirates Team New Zealand
Starting at 0500 this morning, it's almost 10 in the morning here now.
racing AC.
And you can see from the green bars there on the here, that means they have gone forward. They have finished. Kiwis are well behind. The Dutch are finishing last in this women's semifinal race. So we'll find out when that next. Thank you, Commodore. You're too kind. We'll see who goes forward. We know rather who's going forward. The question is, when do they go forward? Is it tomorrow or is it Sunday as scheduled? Again, the women's one race winner take all final is scheduled for Sunday morning between races 3 and 4. But the forecast for Sunday is very light. Maybe they'll put it in tomorrow. We don't know. We don't know. We'll know hopefully by 1300 today when we will go live. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. A squeaky spider, Richard Lawton, is saying, thanks to all of you for coming back on. Andrew McIrvin says he may need a drink now. Well, you can have a drink. It's almost 1800 your time in London. And we will be back live with some kind of a show. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but we'll be back with some kind of a show here at 1 o'clock our time, 1300 Pacific. And we'll be talking about whether Dylan Fletcher, who is the B-helm for the Brits, can beat his fellow 49er Olympic medalist Pete Burling. And, of course, Nathan Otteridge, who won a 49er medal before that. And they are the A and B helm on ETNZ. And, of course, Dylan is the B helm on Ineos Britannia. They're going head-to-head in the match, scheduled to start tomorrow, Sir Ben, who was the Olympian, most decorated Olympic sailor ever in our sport, the Finn sailor, and obviously a hell of a good sailor, and also a great match racer. People forget he won the World Match Racing Championship back in, I don't know, 2010, 2011, somebody will know on here. Sun is down. The Aurora is next. Maybe a glass of Vino Tinto, Andrew McIrvin, for you. I'm going to get cleaned up here and try to put the finishing touches on a show for 1300. We hope to see you then in just a little over 3 hours from now. And Julia will be down here in the studio, joining me over here at her table as our regular co-host for show number 768. Thanks for joining us. See you in a couple, 3 hours. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.